You know, you mentioned Abner Morris. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that Abner's got a big fight coming up in June against Cuellar. I know a lot of times as a strength and conditioning coach, you guys, you cater your training to the opponent that you're going to fight, and there's different things that you work on, different techniques and stuff like that. Is there anything, I mean, you know, obviously you're not going to give away the strategy, but is there anything that you think you'll have to change with Abner's training to get him ready for that fight?
I think Abner and I have been together for so long that we've done so many different things and so many, and he's become so adept at doing so many different training techniques, whether it's we're trying to be stronger, whether we're trying to be more mobile, whether we're trying to, whatever it is we're trying to do. That I don't think we need to make a whole lot of changes. His body's become pretty adept to that. But if and when we do it, it's gonna be more me talking to Robert Garcia, his current coach, and seeing what do they have in plan, you know, as a game plan, and what would he like to see from Abner, and what would he like to see from me as a conditioning coach? Because ultimately I need to respect their decision, their game plan. I'm not the boxing coach, and I never take that away from them, you know. So if a boxing coach says this, hey, you know what, let's work towards that goal.
Is it difficult to work with, you know, a trainer? Because I know a lot of times, you know, boxing trainers, they're set in their ways and they want to focus on whether it's sparring or running or doing this, that, and the other. Is it difficult to balance that out with what you want to do?
It can be sometimes. I mean, there's times where, you know, you could butt heads with the boxing coach, and you guys may have different opinions or different understanding or different knowledge of different things. But at the end of the day, you know, you need to look at who you're working with and what their experience is and what their experience is with that particular fighter as well, because they know that particular fighter and they know that they've worked with him and they know how his body reacts to certain things. And so you need to just say, hey, you know what, maybe, you know, my textbook may say this, you know, or my experience with, you know, A, B, and C fighter says this, but you know this dude more than I do. So I need to make you happy and kind of conform to that. So, but okay, so we're not going to do that. So what else can I do to reinforce the work that you want me to do with him, or the work that you don't want me to do with him? You know, there's different ways of working. So yeah, sometimes there is that dialogue, but I mean, really, at the end of the day, I mean, they're boxers. They're not sprinters. They're not bodybuilders. They're not anything else. So no matter what it is I do that's outside the ring, I better make sure that every time he steps into the ring to spar, every time he shows up to a boxing training, that he is 100% ready to do and put the work output that his trainer expects him to do. And if I'm not doing that, you know, that means that either I got too much of an ego or I'm doing something wrong. I mean, yeah, there's days where I'm going to work a fighter and I'm going to say, hey, man, the expectation is going to be this. You're going to be tired for your boxing session, and your boxing trainer knows that. So you guys are going to probably take it light today, but the work that we did is important for these reasons. But once sparring gets to be appeared, and they start peaking out, you know, then all your work, you know, as far as like hard conditioning work, as a conditioning coach, you're down here, right? So you start up here, and then your work tapers down, and their work tapers up, and then at the end you become more of a physical therapist. You know, where you're trying to take care of all the bumps and bruises and body aches and making sure that they're healthy and they're stretched out, they're flexible, they're every little muscle in their body's firing, and if there's not something that's not firing, if they're locked up and can't really, you know, turn a certain way, then those are the kinds of things that you're more focused on, as opposed to just putting them through this hard, you know, grueling training session. So you just need to find and know your place.
Yeah, you mentioned that they're boxers, and I know you've worked with other athletes before. How different is it to work with a boxer as opposed to, you know, a sprinter, a baseball player, or someone like that?
Oh, that's a different animal. It's a different animal. I tell everybody. I mean, if what I learned in the textbook, and I stepped in, you know, with my knowledge off that textbook and wanted to work with a fighter, I'd screw everything up.
Wow.
You know, I wouldn't know what to do. And even then, there was days where I remember going to school and I was through my undergrad, and you know, and and thinking, I just went to class, I just learned this, and now I'm applying it at the same time, and I'm sitting here, I don't know what to do. Should I do this? Or should I not do this? Is that going to be right if I did that? And and then boxing's telling you something different. The fighter's telling you, hey, I feel this way. Why do I feel that way? Like, oh wow, it's like and so it's just a different animal. And so sometimes when I see certain guys, like not to knock anybody out there that wants to be a conditioning coach in this sport, but some of the CrossFit guys that want to handle some of the boxers and some of their training, it's just learn the sport, man. Learn the sport. Learn it. Learn boxing. Learn really boxing. Learn it. I mean, I know it. I can throw punches. I can spar. I can do mitt work. I can tell a fighter.
I've seen you shadow boxing.
I can do everything. That's where I can wrap their hands. I can work a corner. I can do every aspect of boxing. And not till I was able to do that was I really truly able to understand the animal that boxing is and what strength and conditioning really means to the sport and how that makes a boxer better. But I just fresh out of school, I would have been lost.